Hey team, welcome back to another great episode of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader podcast. This is your host, Mark Jewell, and I am joined today by Mr. Dustin Libel. He is the owner, right? Founder of NEK Ag Services in Leona, Kansas. So
Yep.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Good to be on.
Glad to have you on. All right, opening question. What does it mean for you to be intentional?
Yeah. So when I was reading through, that's a very, very good question. Take a time to maybe put it into words. So to be intentional, I mean, I think that means for me to take a conscious effort, and not just what I tell our employees or customers, like how I want things done, but I have to take a step back and actually do those things, kind of like I would as a dad. Don't just do what I do what I say, or not vice versa, I guess.
Yeah.
You get it. So yeah, that's for me to be intentional. I have we have a standard protocol of how we do things, and the way we want things done. That's the right way. So I have to be held accountable as that, and as well as everybody else.
Yeah. Good, man. I love the word conscious, it just, if you're actually conscious about your situation, conscious of what you're trying to create, that opens the doorway to be much more intentional. A lot of people are just not squared away as pertains to, just a lot of people just get stuck in the grind, right? It's very easy to just get stuck in doing the same thing day after day after day. And unfortunately, one of the downstream consequences of that is we do lose consciousness at some point. We got to just get stuck. We're not doing anything new. We're on purpose at that point. So good stuff, man. So NEK Ag Services, what is it? What do you guys do? Tell us about it. Tell us about you.
Yeah. So NEK Ag. So we're primarily a seed dealer for Bex hybrids. We also sell a little bit of American as well.
Yep. Okay.
Clear ball.
Good. How long you been at that?
So my wife, Kristen, and I, we've owned this for 6 years, I believe.
Yep.
Yep. Been a joy, man. Been a joy. We've been beyond blessed with the growth that we've had. I'm sure it's cliche, but we really do have the greatest people to work with, whether they'll be people to work for us or our customers.
Yeah. Love it. I think it was David Ringer. So we asked for references from our past guests, and I had David on last year, and we had a great conversation, which I really enjoyed. And then I asked him, "Hey, who do you recommend?" And you were one of the names that he provided. And one of the things I loved about, guys, what Dustin did is he actually booked a meeting with us. He's like, "I want to talk to this guy first before I go on his show." Find out, like, hey, what's he about? What's the motives? But being prepared and being conscious about what you're walking into, and I really appreciated that, and appreciated our first conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to give a shout out to Ringer. Like, not only are we colleagues, we're from the same company, I suppose, but he's actually been a role model and a mentor.
Yeah.
So, not just in the business sense. I mean, again, we're colleagues, but in my faith journey as well. He's helped me out tremendously. He puts on a very good on a class every year that we try to attend. So I'm very much.
Yep. Yeah. Good. Yeah, he's a heck of a dude, and I don't know which episode. We don't have episodes numbered on this thing. You'd have to go back probably 50 or 60 shows ago. But if you scroll back and look for David Ringer guys in our podcast list, man, heck of an interview. Really, really cool guy. So that was a very, very enjoyable show. So what made you want to? I mean, were you always entrepreneurial? Did you always have your own thing going, and that's decided to get into seed and chem and fertilizer and things like that, or do you just how'd you get here?
No. So actually, beforehand, I used to think of any ag retail sales as used car sales. That terrible persona. It's actually one of my very good friends. He's the one that started the company, and I worked for him for a couple of years. And then, we split, and it's all good. There's no ill intention there. But it's I guess, so I love farming. I believe that's what the Lord put me on this earth to do. And now I also get paid to help people farm.
Yeah.
So like, I can't build cabinets for my wife. I can't build a back deck. I don't know anything about gardening, but I like farming, and it's not just a job, but it's a passion. So I I am blessed in the regards that I don't have to work every day. I get to do what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And with that side, now I get to work with great people and build relationships, which is uh, a deep passion of mine as well, to learn not just about people, but from people. I believe I can learn just as much from them as they can learn from me. So
Sure.
the business side of it is, of course, enjoyable, but it's the relationships that I enjoy.
You bet. Yeah. What has been working for you? And, I mean, it's certainly not easy. There's plenty of market pressure. There's lots of seed options. There's lots of fertilizer options, biological options, all the things that I'm sure you're into right now. So, as an independent guy going out there having to build a book of business, like what has worked?
To be straight with you, man, the truth is that, I farmed beforehand too, and my dad still do. But I wanted to treat people like I wanted to be treated, I don't want you to show up and I'll write a check to you and see you in 12 months. That's not it at all. That's
Yeah.
a very minute piece of the puzzle. It's being in there and going through all the challenges that ag requires, whether that's in the field or not.
Yeah.
So that's, just treating people right's been good for us.
Good.
Get right from people.
Yeah, man. Good for you. Good answer. What, so put on the farmer hat for a second. What do you think most, you said you looked at ag retail salespeople as kind of like a used car salesman. So I sold used cars for a little while, so I take a little bit of offense for that. But the commissions are better, man. The commissions are better on used cars than new cars. I'll tell you that right now. But, joking aside, like what do you see your typical ag retail salesperson get wrong from the farmer's perspective?
So for our world here, and I mean no offense to this by nobody, but it seems like the just the typical retail side, like, hey, we offer this, it's because you need this. It's actually not maybe solving the problem of the farmer. It's trying to insert yourself into their business and fix a problem that's maybe not even there.
Yeah.
I think don't overlook things. Just what if you just listened? You can find out a lot about somebody if you just listen. A lot of times it's way more information than you need to know. But in the same sense, if you listen, you can find out a lot about what not only is the problem, but what drives that person. And it's for all of us. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. It drives me a little nutty, to be honest with you, because for the last decade, I mean, I've done a lot of sales training, and we're always teaching consultative selling. We don't teach anything but consultative selling, which the bulk of what we're teaching people to do is how to ask questions. Like ask a question and shut up for a while, and just wait and see. And sometimes you get a certain personality type that needs a minute or two to chew on what you asked them. But I think so often we get lost in we ask it and then we almost feel bad because it takes them a while to come up with the answer. And so then we ask something else and we distract the customer. And at least that's, excuse me, that's one scenario. But when you're sitting down talking with your farmer customers now, like, I mean, what are you asking them? Like how do you get to the real solution, not just the prescribed solution that your VP told you to go sell?
good question. I don't know if there's a cookie cutter question or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just the simple things of how are things going this year? Like right now, as we talked earlier, we have everything in the ground here in Northeast Kansas. Everything's coming up, starting to look a little cold, right? So then, do you really need to talk about seed right now, or is it talking about post application chemicals, or just the the age old thing of, well, how's your marketing looking? You can learn a lot about that because everybody markets wrong.
Right.
So doing that, and then like it says, people will in turn tell you way more than you even ask. And maybe something completely separate. I may ask, what kind of herbicides are you using? I may learn what kind of equipment they have, or what they're wanting to trade off or sell, or anything down those lines, or even how many kids they got along with it. So
Yeah.
like I said, just listen. Good Lord gave you 2 ears, one mouth. So
Right. Yeah. God forbid if we just sit down and be real, and then have a conversation and, try to get to know people at the real level. So, yeah. So let's just talk a little bit about, building out your business. I mean, do you stay in small? Do you want to grow big? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah. So the always had the hope that we would get to where we're getting close to now, but never thought that was a reality. I mean, I'm a very
Yeah.
competitive person, but thought that was going to be quite a few years down the road, if then. And we're at the point right now where, again, praise God that He brought us to where we are, but we are putting a lot of effort into this summer because we're wanting to take it from where we are now to the next level.
Yeah.
Which could be a lot of infrastructure additions, employment additions, and then maybe even how we go about our daily business as well, and
Yeah.
what those days look like.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always one thing is I've gone from different levels, in the business and also watching other people ascend in their own businesses at different, the dollars are different, right? But the levels of ascension are kind of similar. And it's like, man, to go from one level, to go from the startup space to the, your first 100,000, like there's a certain level of mentality that it takes to get there, to go from that first 100 to the next, to the first million. It's a different version of you that takes it there. It's a different type of business, right? And to get from from that million to the next, now it's really about processes and systems. It's not just about what you can do. Now it's like, what can you get done through others? You know what I'm saying? We got a client right now who's gone from 40 to 100 million to trying to get to half a billion in the next few years in a larger ag retail sense. And it's like, you're sitting here looking at it. I mean, you need an entire new executive team at that point. Like you don't get to be who you were, in the pre. So how has that stretched you in your mindset?
Quite a bit. So one thing is I don't want to ever lose the humility and knowing what it is like to get that first sale.
Yeah.
You get kind of like we talked about, the scratching and clawing that it takes to start your own business. I don't want to lose that mentality. But in the same regard, I now realize that I have to grow as a business. But it's not just going out and getting sales and slinging seed. It's now, well, what is best for our business in the long term aspect.
You bet.
My wife has an MBA, so she's the smart one out of all of us. But I rely on her a lot.
Sure.
With the finances, but let's look at the 5-year growth. When it started, there was no 5-year. What's tomorrow bring? Change.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's good. It's good to have a good woman around you who knows how to do things with the numbers and calculate. Our model around here is like Mark makes the money and Christine multiplies the money. That's how we go about it. So, and it's a good, it's a good relationship. Everybody plays to their strengths. God made women multipliers of things and people, and it really it does play out. And she does a fantastic job of helping out with that, and it provides a good partnership. And you need that if you're going to scale and grow the business and be able to take care of your people and team. I know you got a small team now. As you start to grow the team, what's really important to you from a cultural perspective? Like what do you want to build for the nucleus of your company, of your team, your people?
Good question. So I think the word culture gets abused
Yeah.
now. So I think culture is what outsiders think of you, and we sometimes use the word culture when it should be the word image. So image, I believe, is like what you think of yourself. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but culture,
Yeah.
our customers or even just average Joe walking down, like I want them to know that NEK is a business that puts the customer's needs in front of their own. Much easier said than done. In the ag world, sometimes it's tough to answer a phone on 7 o'clock on Sunday night.
Yeah.
But that's, I hope, what separates us, because we put our customers' needs in front of our
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure they appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. You bet. Good. What's been the toughest thing, like the toughest challenge that you've had to overcome in getting from where you started to where you're at now?
So I think we were third or fourth dealer in Kansas. I can never remember, but the toughest of those first few years, man. I mean, it was a grind. It was making sure that the right message was out there, not what the competition was saying. I've told multiple people, I couldn't have done this at 21. I was way too committed. Fortunately, it was later on in life, even after right when I got married is when we started this. But having someone like Kristen on our side and being able to be humble enough to, maybe take the blows and push them aside, because we used to say, we're not too worried about what the competition says. We're worried about what the customers say.
Yeah.
So just taking that negativity and letting it go by one side and focusing on the job.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we wind up in the right place at the right time and are able to take those. But I mean, if let's be honest, I mean, people are going to misinterpret things. Competition is going to do what competition is going to do, right? They're going to try to, there's going to be plenty of it, especially in this industry. And there's no shortage of people knocking on the doors of farmers across the Midwest and other places for that matter, right? So, yeah, absolutely. What was, I mean, Val, let me ask this question first. What's been the biggest win for you in that same time frame?
So the biggest win. So at Bex, we have we have our commemorative awards, and they're called multi-year agreements, right? That's when somebody pledges 3 years of business to you. Okay. But I'll never forget who it was. He's now, of course, fantastic customer and great friend. But when he first signed on that line to devote the next 3 years of business to us, that was, man, that was awesome. That was
Yeah.
a special feeling.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool. And was it just from a place of service, performance, quality? How did you get them there?
Well, I can't take any credit for that one for this, because there was the value that Bex offered, and it was neat as an awakening moment. And he just basically said, I'd be silly not to do this, right there. And then since then he hasn't left. Like I said, he's been a great friend, let alone a customer.
Yeah. Cool. I love it. You seem like someone who likes to go deep with the relationships.
Love it. Yeah, that's I told people, like, I really am probably a terrible salesperson. I don't know how, like, the buzzwords to use or something like that. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah.
I like talking to people and deepening those relationships, and especially in a business sense. As you know, when somebody dives into the financial side, I mean, that takes a lot of trust to know someone else's financial situation and keep it a secret. There's nobody
Yeah.
this but the customer. So I enjoy that side of it, and the deepening of relationships. So it's been real cool for somebody to call and say, like, hey, how do you have your planner set up? I don't sell planners. I don't sell anything that goes on planners. But for them to just like, well, what are you going to do today? Are you going to spray today? Like, that side of it is probably the most rewarding, because now you have a loyalty and a trust to somebody that goes
Right.
beyond business.
Yeah. 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 Now you're truly leading from a place of service. I love with some of my clients, different, right? 'Cause we're not in farming, but we're all raising kids. I mean, that's what most of my clients tend to kind of look like. Yeah. From in our mastermind group is a lot of, late 30s to mid 40s to 50-year-old men leading teams in agriculture. We all kind of look the same. And we all got kids that are in the, late single digits to early 20s kind of time frame. So we're all solving a lot of the same problems. And sometimes the conversation has nothing to do with business advising. It's nothing to do with training people. It's nothing to do with how we're coaching their teams, right? Our side conversations, our text messages on the weekends and Snapchats that we're sending together, it's all about kids.
Yeah.
It's all about what's going on with the family, or going on date night with the wife. Like we'll sometimes hold clients accountable to following through on doing a date night, because they haven't taken a date night. They made the business the priority for too long, and now the relationship is suffering, right? So it's like, hey, we got to get that kicked into gear, and that becomes the stuff we talk about.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, I mean, business is business. I mean, business is easy when you understand the basic functions of it. Like, there's things we got to go do, but it's like, man, when we can really get under the hood and actually really start to develop deep relationships and care about not just that, are they going to sign up for another year of service or not? Yep. Man, if you take care of the relationship, that will take care of itself.
100%. I think it sounds back to total take care of people, money in account.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the reasons we do this podcast. We continue to say if we can put more value into the market than we ask from it, then we never go hungry.
Absolutely.
And the business continues to grow easier and easier. Why? Because we're always we pump out a lot of content, man. I mean, we're doing 104 episodes a year, just like this one. Sometimes it's our team, sometimes it's an interview. We put out, I think we're at the end of this year, we'll be up at around 250 episodes, on the Intentional Ag Leader podcast. And that's just a whole compendium. I mean, you don't have to go to an MBA program. You can come and just take all of these, stick them into Notebook LM and have AI search. Okay, what does it take to be an intentional leader? Help me write a leadership program. You could probably glean that from all of the interviews that we've done, right here on this show. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts. It's all there, public and free. Have it. That's why we put it out there so people can get better. It's good. Do you read?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite? What are you taking in these days? What are you reading?
So I'm big into nonfiction. I'm not the type of person that can just follow a made up story. I mean, no offense.
Yeah.
Without taking offense to that, but
no, you're just...
so it's a lot of either historical or like get better books, right?
Yeah.
So like the Extreme Ownership, The Economy of Leadership.
Yeah.
Jewell. So those are probably my favorites. Probably been the most impactful in my life. But books like that I dive into.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's easily the most recommended book on the podcast, the Extreme Ownership. That's come across a lot. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. That's another one, especially if you guys are growing a team. I'd highly recommend that one to you and anybody else who's doing that. Here's an interesting one. I have not finished this. It is a book. I mean, this thing is meaty, but it's the history of Crazy Horse. It's an interesting lesson in leadership. This was, I believe, it's to date has now been the most complete historical capturing of that late 1800s time frame in the in the West and kind of how the West was won. But it's all about the life of Crazy Horse and the leadership that came from him. So pretty wild. I mean, he's one of they gave the U.S. Army a heck of a hard time for a long time. So pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this is a reader. I mean, you got to I've been on that for 2 years. Like it takes a little bit of time, but it's good. I mean, you can see I think the bookshelf behind me is kind of blurred out, but we do we obviously we read a lot around here. We do a lot of a lot of podcasts and a lot of Bible study and that kind of stuff in here too all the time. So
awesome.
Good. Talk to me a little bit about from an intentional leadership standpoint, like how are you taking the lessons from business and applying them to family, or are you applying the family lessons to the business? Like what's your take on that?
So it's both. It's definitely a two-way street, and it's neat how that does overlap, right?
Yeah.
So we was talking about like the book Extreme Ownership. So obviously that has impacted me as a leader here for our business, but it's also made me more responsible as a dad and as a husband, right? Like no excuses. The main priority is getting the job done, getting the task done at hand.
Yeah.
Setting that boundary, and also holding the line for what I allow as well. So it is neat how those overlap. And I'm a farm kid, farm dad. Our kids are here, like they're young, but they're here, and not day to day, but multiple times a week. So to see how that overlaps as well.
You bet. How old are your kids?
Well, I have a 5-year-old in a week, and then 3.
5 and 3. Nice, man. It's a great boys, girls.
One each.
One of each. Nice, man. I had 3 of my own now, 3 more that I've adopted, and I love it. Like being a dad is it's the best job. Like I feel like I was something I was born to do. I don't struggle with it. I've enjoyed doing it with my stepkids. I've enjoyed doing it, obviously, with my 3 kids. And so my first 2 were 2 years apart, and 2 girls. And and then I married into 2 where there's 2 that were 2 years. That hers were 2 years apart each. And so the way it worked out is we've got them right now. The ages are 20, 23, 21, 19, 17, 15, 9. And so it looks like we did it on purpose, and pretty funny. So little Brady Bunch experiment going on here, and but it's just I mean, that's the stuff that matters. At the end of the day, nobody's going to remember how many bags of seed you sold.
Yeah. So I believe that besides being called a Christian, the best thing you can be called dad.
Yeah.
And that's dead serious. It takes anybody can be a father, but to be a dad is really one of the greatest gifts that we gave us.
100%, man. Good stuff. So what's on the horizon for the rest of the year? What are you guys getting? You're fixing to grow. You want to take the business to the next level. What kind of resources do you need? And how can we, what kind of things should we be sending your way? What prayers do you need? Give us a vision of where you're going.
We'll take any prayers we can get, and we'll take any prayers we can get. No, I mean, like I said, we're all humans. We can all do something to help each other out. Just being a part of this is a great humbling experience. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
Of course, in a roundabout way, that's let me dive into your podcast and get that perspective from other people as well. It's unique. Like you had Wendell Cohen on.
Yeah.
Wendell and I mean, both started basically at the same time, we're the same age. But we love doing things together because we're completely different people on how we think, but yet have such a great friendship, not just a professional relationship, but a great friendship that we bounce ideas off each other multiple times a year.
Good. Love it.
Things like that are what I appreciate. And I believe we all can learn something, and we all need to grow in some facet or another. And I'm any help I can get from the podcast or however it may be.
What do you find? What's the biggest area of growth that you feel like you need from a leadership perspective right now?
Time management.
Time
management. Yeah. And it's a balance because, I don't want, you take phone calls all day. And I want to intentionally make sure that I give every phone call the proper time, not straight get to the point, but straight really listen to somebody. So in doing so, that's wonderful. And then now I need to appropriate how I spend the rest of my time.
Right. Yep.
You're on the phone for 4.5 hours a day. Now you need another 6 hours to get your work done. So however that may be, and I wish I had the answer, but there's a lot of areas of my professional career that I wish I could grow in, and plan on doing so.
Yeah. Good. I love it, man. So here's if you're open to it, I got one thing on time management real quick before we go. So we run a program, called the Thriving Leader. It's our flagship program that most of our clients go through this. And at the opening of every Thriving Leader, we ask a question, because you believe it or not, when we run a training program for businesses, a lot of times the people in the room don't want to be there. Right? They've been through a dozen other trainings that were a waste of time. They think this is just going to be another one. And eventually we prove them wrong. But one of the ways we do that is we open up with a question. We say, hey, since you're here in the room, we're going to be here together for 2 days. What makes this a worthy investment of your time? What do you need? Right? And that's sort of our brand promise is if you're going to come to one of our training programs, it's going to be a worthy investment of your time. You walk out of there on the second day saying you're damn glad that you came. Like that's our mission on once we start training. So we ask the question, we capture it on a flip chart. And in the top 3 in each room today, and have been now for a long time, is time management, work-life balance, and less stress. Those are the 3 things that people want the most of. time management, work-life balance, and the most stress. Now, work-life balance is easy because we know that balance is BS. There's no such thing. Balance insinuates that if I'm going to have more success, then I have to sacrifice from somewhere else. Right. So what that means is, like, if I'm going to have more success, that means I have to sacrifice either my other time, my family time, my peace, my sleep, my ethics, my health. Right. I got to sacrifice from somewhere in order to make up. So balance doesn't really work. Right. And especially since I don't know how old you are, but I was the first one in my high school to have a cell phone. Okay. When these things started coming home with us, the balance went out the window. It's a blend. Okay. You're always going to be blending, and you might have to take a call at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, but maybe not every day. Right. And so, one of the things we teach our customers is that you get to train your customers how to treat you. And it's like, hey man, guess what? Sunday's our priority. Like, we don't work Sundays. I train my clients, like, we don't do coaching the last week of the month. Okay. That's just like, that's our week to work. And on that last week of the month, we work on the business. I make podcasts. But I don't do coaching calls, and we don't run events. We don't travel, right, for work purposes. And so that's the week where we go, generally like one week a quarter, we go away, we work on the business. So I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but no, what we're talking about is time blocking. Right. And so when there's certain things that that are more important than work, and those are certain family things, right? I mean, maybe that's church on like a weekly level. Maybe it's eating dinner together as a family on a daily level. Maybe it's a vacation once a year, right? Or twice a year, or whatever your cadence for that is. That has to go on the calendar first. So we work that backwards. The problem so from a time management perspective, we work that in. We build our business to support the family's life. Okay. Most people let their business dictate what their family can do. And that's not biblical, and it's the wrong order. Okay. And so if we get into the habit of that, then we get ourselves backed into a corner. This is really important, especially for the small business owners in the room. Now, from a time management perspective, it's never about time management, because if God all of a sudden tomorrow sent out a notice that we now have 30 hours a day instead of 24, and with that extra 6 hours, what do you think we'd do with it, Dustin?
Work.
Put more in. We just work more. So it doesn't matter. We could have 50-hour days, and we would still just evolve to work more, right? That's how we're wired. And so it's not about time management, it's about energy management. And so it's having a standard for how I get to feel as I go throughout the day. Right? And so one of our standards around here is, like, we have a standard of not being rushed. Because I want the time, if I'm going to sit here and have a quality conversation for an hour, I don't want to be rushing into the next thing. And I do have a hard stop at 2 o'clock. I'm going to go on to the next one, but I'm going to hey, this conversation is going to be complete, right? When we finish it, and I'm going to feel good going into the next one. And so that means I need to eat right. I need to sleep right. I need to exercise right. I need to do all the other things so that I have the capacity to not feel crappy as I go through the day. And a lot of our clients come into our Thriving Leader program, and they are so wound up on technology, Copenhagen, Monster energy drinks, Mountain Dew, coffee all day long. That's what's required to keep them going. And it's killing our industry.
Nail on the head on.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a big problem. And so if my capacity comes from Mountain Dew, that means that I am literally a slave to something outside. I'm in bondage to something else. And I've gotten to a point in my life, I'll be 44 in 5 days. I don't want to be in bondage to anything else. I don't want to owe anything else to anybody. I want to get out, right? I want to be in that. So time management really comes down to energy management and determining what's the quality of my energy that I get to feel throughout the day. And then I solve for that. And what most people do is they think, okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff to do today. Can I just get through, right? Can I just get through? And so they're solving for the getting of the stuff done. Whereas I today am now solving for how I get to experience getting the stuff done. it's a different problem to solve. And like, our quality of life and our joy, like a lot of people have fear of missing out, FOMO. It's like, man, if I don't make this call, if I don't have this thing, if I don't get to go to this event, then what am I going to miss out? We flipped that around. We said, what joy do I get to have in my life because I'm missing out on certain things?
I think that perspective is what changes the whole dialogue, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Flip it. Like, we have to flip the model on its head, because it's, everybody's just trying to figure out, how can I get more done? How can I get more done? Like, hey, listen, if you want to go from $1 million to a $3 million business, or $3 million to a $10 million business, or $10 million to $100 million, like, you're finding better ways. Like, you're just now you have, if you want to go to the next level, you can't solve the old problems anymore. Right? You have to develop systems for the old problems, develop people, train people for the old problems, and then develop systems for yourself to go to the next level and start working on, like, if you if you don't want to be $1 million business anymore and you want to be $100 million business, like, you got to get $100 million problems.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're doing that, guess what? You're going to be able to afford someone to take care of the $1 million problems for you. By the way, there's a suck stage between $1 million to 3 million that a lot of us are in, where it's like, you can't really afford the help to solve the $1 million problem. So for a while, you got to do both. I'm not saying it's as easy as I just made it sound.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, man, thanks for being on the show. Really good conversation today. Thanks for letting me riff and go off on time management here at the end. Any last thoughts or things?
Mark, I appreciate it. It's been an honor. I don't know if you learned anything from me, but I sure as hell learned something from you. Got it wrote down right there. So
Yeah, man, I love it.
Appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it.
You got it. Yeah, good show. Thanks for being on.
All right. Take care.